I'm Mike Amos. He's Bill Rice Jr. Mike Amos coming in on Zoom television. He jumps in and out. He's the bearded one this morning. He's going to shave for us right here on the air today. You know, we're having a hard time finding something to talk about, but he's called the Red Baron, Mike Amos, this morning. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning. I don't plan on shaving anytime soon. If I can make it through August, I can usually make it for a while. So.
Mike, the headline news this morning, and unless it just skipped by me, evidently it skipped by me. Jimmy Ramage is running again for the mayor's seat in Brundage. Jimmy Ramage, the former mayor of the city of Brundage for, 30 years or more, or maybe 40 years, is wanting that job back again, qualifying for the mayor's position in Brundage on the election that will be held on the 25th of August. The qualifying ends today with the incumbent, Mrs. Isabel Boyd, who is seeking a second term. Challengers for the mayor's seat are former Mayor Jimmy Ramage and newcomers to the city politics, Anthony Foster, Mike McNally, and Rodney Wilson. So that is going to be very, very interesting. As
five people running for the office. Wow!
And of course, former Mayor Jimmy.
Anytime you run against a Foster in Brundage, that sounds like that'd be tough.
That's right. You're exactly right. There's a Foster running, McNally, and a Wilson, and of course the incumbent Isabel Boyd against former mayor, longtime mayor, one of the top mayors, I reckon, in the country for 40 years, Jimmy Ramage.
So Ramage, did he just retire as mayor and he decided to run again?
Yes,
or?
He retired and decided to run again.
Okay. What about in Troy's election? Who's running against Reeves?
We're going to get to that in a few minutes, as long as my newspaper will thaw out. Again, it was a hard hit by my sprinkler system this morning, but it's pretty good. You also got some races in Brundage. I want to say there's 22 seat seekers, what they call them.
Seat seekers, yeah.
That's right. And District 1 incumbent Betty Baxter, and with challengers Lynette Andrews, Doug Holland, and Jimmy Turnvin. That's the football coach, Douglas Holland. Is that right, Mike?
Must be.
Baseball or basketball coach.
Yeah, that's.
He used to be the quarterback of the Bulldogs when I was covering him. He was a good one.
That's the basketball coach, just won the state championship. Fred's the football coach.
Yeah, that's right. Are they brothers or cousins?
I believe they're brothers.
Yeah, vying for District 2 seat are Alexandria Griffin, who filled the vacant seat of her dad, Arthur Lee Griffin, Charlie Bell, Jessica Collier, Stacy Flanoy, and Letitia Hall is running in the 2nd district. In District 3, candidates are incumbent Margaret Ross and challengers Henry Everett and Angie Kelly. In District 4, Councilman Byron Gaynor is opposed by Paula Hall, and Chris Foster will be challenging for the District 5 seat, which is held by, let's read that again. Chris Foster will be challenged for the District 5 seat by James Jones and Marilyn Rogers. In Troy, here we go, Mike. In Troy, the incumbent Jason Reeves will be, and then of course Robert Jones and Stephanie Baker have opposition in the August the 25th election. Reeves is being challenged for the mayor's position by Tyrone Moultrie. So that's going against long-term Mayor Jason Reeves. Reeves is challenged for the mayor's position again by Tyrone Moultrie. Council member Jones, District 1, is being challenged by Sharon McSwain Holland, and Council member Baker is being opposed by Caleb Dawson. In District 2, Greg Meeks looks like will be running unopposed, as will Marcus Calloway in District 3, and Wanda Moultrie in District 5 will all be unopposed.
Marcus Paramore, right?
Paramore, what'd I say?
Callaway.
Marcus Callaway.
Sorry about that. I want to apologize. I want to apologize.
That's a good name, Marcus Callaway, though. I like that.
Let me apologize to my good friend this morning, Marcus Paramore. But again, also,
I remember when Marcus first came to Troy, I was a young punk kid working for him in the athletic department.
Yeah.
He was probably in his 20s too.
Yeah, exactly.
Johnny Williams hired Marcus Paramore, he hired Wes Allen, and little did we know how involved they'd be in Troy politics one day.
That's right.
And also, Johnny hired our good friend from Cincinnati, Ohio, too, Mike.
Oh, he hired Roger Schultz too. I forgot about that.
He hired Roger Schultz, yeah. But
from Cincinnati, Ohio. You think about Stedman?
No, Mike. He's there now. Been there for years.
Okay.
And
trying to think.
Okay. Well, let me just say this again. There will be no need for election in the town of Goshen. Darren Jordan, the incumbent, is uncontested for the mayor's position, and only 5 candidates qualify for the 5 at-large council seats. That would be newcomer Jeremy Bunnell will join incumbent council member Mac Barber, Jimmy Bryan, Sean Richburg, and Jack Waller on the Goshen Town Council. Jane Hughes, my good friend, did not seek re-election. So that is some information. There's a little more information. On August the 25th, Banks will have their election, and they will not go to the polls.
Banks has a mayor?
Yes, sir. It's incorporated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! I didn't know
all right,
that.
and all of them are in good. They claim that Banks is in good hands with Mayor Lisa Culpepper, council members Kim Henderson, Jeff Hollis, Laura Hollis, Laurie Welch, and Lynn Wilson. So that's a rundown of a lot going on.
That's good. Now we know all our council members and who's running against them in
but it's a shocker.
Troy, Brundage, Goshen, and Banks. Those are the 4 incorporated towns in Pike County.
Is anybody running against Mike Amos on Crow Hill as mayor of
Crow Hill unopposed for the last 40 years. Unopposed, Mike.
You're definitely the mayor of Crow Hill.
Well, no, they kicked we can't get anybody to serve on the council down there.
Nobody wants that.
You see that crazy guy that keeps on making us put white lights in our trees up there?
Yeah, you're right. The Christmas guy. Let me just say this, that Jimmy Ramage, and I hate to keep mentioning this, but for some reason I did not realize that he was going to run back for his seat.
I didn't know it either.
You know, he was long term. I'd like to know. I would say 40 years at least. He's been.
He was mayor of Brundage as long as I can remember.
But now also there was another guy named Boss Hogg that was mayor. You know, he was.
That was his nickname.
Yeah, well, you don't know who Boss Hogg was in Brundage? Barr.
Yeah, the bar is another bar.
That's right. Of course, he was a long-time mayor too, and but somebody do some research and let us find out how.
Well, the elections are August 25th, so that's not long.
That's not. That's going to be a race. Gosh, I mean, people would say 5 people running for that
mayor's job. Yeah.
Mayor's job.
Felt like Mayor Lunsford coming back and running against Mayor Reeves or something.
Wouldn't that be something?
No, I'm just saying, Mayor Lunsford was the mayor of Troy for so many years as well.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, Jason Reeves has taken over and done a super job as mayor of the city of Troy. And but again, a lot of activity, like they mentioned, Rice got a kick out of this. 22 seekers on the ballot.
That's a tongue twister. Seat seekers.
It is. And I'm glad there's a lot of people showing that kind of interest in our local governments. It's not easy. I guarantee you, I'm sure Jason
Well,
Reed
right
would
now
say that.
it's the most challenging time to be a mayor or council person maybe in our lifetimes with all the challenges related to COVID. because all the revenues and receipts that are coming into government have been slashed significantly. So I was just reading an article about that this morning before I came to the studio.
Yeah, I was talking to John Reeves yesterday. He's my lawyer, and going back to his granddad, he worked for the city of Troy, and then Grady, who served as the police chief for several years for the city of Troy, and then Jason on city council, and then mayor. I don't know how many years that is of a Reeves serving Troy, Alabama. But that's a long time.
No question, and they've served it very well.
The other family that's like that is in Troy is, in Pike County, it's the Gibson family. Had just people that served for a long, long time.
And the Murphys had, Sam Murphy was a long-time mayor on that mayor council. Troy had a mayor council, which was unusual, really.
That's right, yeah.
And can you name those guys on that council?
Well, yeah, Dad talks about a lot of it. Was, Al Gibbs was on
Al
it.
Gibbs.
My uncle Corley Chapman was on it one time, and
James Ray.
Yeah, I think so.
It was on the council. Also Pat Boyd. You remember that name?
Charles Meeks was probably on there before.
Charles Meeks. Of course, for a long time, Charles Meeks.
Probably Jimmy Lunsford before he.
Have a meal at home?
What now?
Corley always went to restaurants, didn't he?
I don't know of one meal he's ever had at his house. I
used to see him every different restaurant in Troy.
Yeah, that was brother.
Talking about Corley Jr.
Yeah, but Michael makes a good point. I don't think Brother Chapman ever ate one meal or fixed one meal at his house in his life. Yeah. He ate every meal.
Yeah, when I was in college, Corley Apartments were the place to live. It was like the party mecca. It was right there behind the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
And all these different fraternities lived over there. You'd have a Pi Kappa there. You'd have an SA. You'd have a Sigma Chi. And that parking lot in college was the place to have parties before everybody went out to the bars and restaurants.
I must have put some gray hairs on the landlords of those properties. I can only imagine something. I was pretty close to Brother. He never told me stories, but I bet he had some about some of his rowdy tenants.
No question about it.
Oh, my goodness.
Coward, I'm trying to think of some more of these people that served on the city council over those years. As we mentioned, it was unusual. And then, of course, when Mayor Jimmy Lunsford took office, things started changing.
Well, I think there was a lawsuit, or there was something that changed it from the mayor council form to the districts that we have now, and that was probably in the mid '70s, I'm guessing.
Exactly. If you did not catch us early enough, we were talking about the elections will be held. Municipal elections will be held on August the 25th. And there's some interesting news out of both Troy and Brundage on some future candidates for that position. That should be quite a run for a race for the mayor of Brundage, and we'll be watching that very close right here on this show. And any of you folks out there that would love to be on our show and talk about your candidacy, we would love to have you. Of course, Bill Rice Jr. Is with us. The cases and hospitalizations continue to grow. Troy Regional Medical Center conducted more than 100 tests a day. And me and you ought to be one of those people they test.
Well, I've been tested twice.
How do you get tested?
I went to the drive-through at Troy Regional Medical Center. Somebody came out in one of these spacesuits, all docked up. No way any virus was going to get on her, and she gave me the swab test through the window of my car. Exactly. And then I drove off, and that was that.
And I am just like a lot of you. Sometimes I forget, but make sure to be wearing your mask today if you're out in public, and that's so important.
You can't forget, or you're going to have $500 in your pocket to give to the police officer.
Well, I think that's the last. I think it starts out a lot lower than that, Mike, and then it changes as the how many times that you've been
cited.
identified as a person that did not wear his face mask.
Well, the stores are enforcing it because they all got signs up, and I've accidentally gone into my little convenience store and been told, get out of there.
Exactly
I was in a rush and I forgot to put my mask on, and
I might be.
I said,
in
yes,
trouble
ma'am.
myself.
I went and got it, and well, yesterday you talked more about masks than anybody, and then we went to Bird Drugs for breakfast yesterday, and you forgot to.
I sure did. And I'm looking for my mask right now. I must have left it in my truck. But you need to be wearing your mask if you're going anywhere outside the perimeters of your own property. And of course, that means if you go to the post office, if you go to the grocery store, if you go to the drugstore, wherever you are in public places in Troy, Alabama, you need to be wearing your
Let
face
me tell you a
mask.
story. We bought a mask for the kids, the cloth mask, $14 for 2 masks, $7 at CVS. On the way to eat lunch, brunch, we went to the Huddle House, and I didn't want to spend the $14. But my wife said, "Do it anyway," and I said, "Well, we're going to lose them in one day for the kids." This is a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old kid, so they could have a mask. Well, we had a great meal at the Huddle House, and sure enough, we walk out, get in the car, and then Carrie says, "Oh, Maggie had left her little cloth mask on the table at the Huddle House." So we almost lost the mask in an hour.
I'm telling you.
And then I also think about how sanitary is it when you take your mask off and you've got it sitting on the table and the countertop of the restaurant.
And you've been wearing your mask, Mike? What's the rule down there in Great Beach?
I mean, it's not mandatory, but my wife has literally purchased, I think, about 20 masks now. And then the owner of the wine company I work for, his wife makes dresses and all kinds of stuff. She's kind of a stylist, and she's got people making masks as well. So I've got so many masks, I don't even know what to do with them anymore. I could wear one every day, I guess, and not have to worry about washing them.
Can you wear a bandana? I got a
Yeah,
bandana.
you can wear one.
I can breathe better with a bandana. I put one on yesterday to try it out.
Yeah, my problem is I wear a mask and then I forget to take my sunglasses off, and I wear caps a lot. I mean, I'm sure I'm pretty, people probably follow me around stores when they see me in there.
I've thought about that. Is that now these people can wear these bandanas and masks, and then they put on some sunglasses and a baseball hat. There'd be no way to identify these people by camera.
If you're going to Walmart, it's mandatory to have a face mask. Same way with across the street. Is that right?
I would think any store you'd have to wear a mask.
It's by law now.
Lowe's, I think you have to have a mask.
Winn-Dixie was not going to require it. That made headlines. Winn-Dixie was going to be different than all the grocery chains, and that lasted one day. And then they were such a backlash. They now
Exactly right. A friend of mine owns a Winn-Dixie's down in Florida.
Really?
Owns a big Winn-Dixie, yeah.
Well, wasn't there? There's an Alabama connection to Winn-Dixie, right?
I'm sure.
One of the founders of the company,
Tyne Davis.
Tyne Davis Fieldhouse.
That's right. He and Ralph Adams were very good friends, Mr. Tyne Davis, and they built what at that time was a very nice facility for athletics at Troy. But
Well,
the
it's
bigger
actually
Troy
still
got,
there. It
It's
never
still
got
there.
destroyed.
They just
Oh,
build
yeah, I
around
know,
it.
I
Yeah.
know. But what I'm saying though, the more that Troy's grown, the more they've had to add to that Tyne Davis Fieldhouse.
You can't even see that field house anymore. I mean, the original field house that we all remember. I mean, it's funny. I mean, it's been built on top of, to side of, all directions, but it's there.
Some big news out of Troy University, Mike. The athletic director, Brent Jones, says that Troy is going to have 12 games. Man, that's
He's working it now.
making a pretty big prediction there. What do you think?
I tell you what, I would love for him to come on and talk about it, because that's going to be very, very tough.
Well, it says the South.
BYU, I was reading, lost 5 games. They only have 7 teams left on their schedule. Maybe we can play BYU.
Yeah, I know it. I would love to play them. In fact,
Where's that Alabama BYU?
Dad's friends with the athletic director.
that's right. I'm friends with the athletic director. In fact, his daughter's been on this show.
How about that?
And hey, he sent me a nice jacket and a shirt and said, "Hey, we're interested in talking," and nobody has gotten back in touch with him until probably now. I tell you one thing about Brent Jones. He's a go-getter. He's a go-getter. He's already has Troy's schedule out as far as the 2030s, and that's pretty impressive. But now, since we've got this new situation where a lot of the schools are just going to play a conference schedule, he's talking about 6 home games here. How about that? If he could, let me just say this: if Brent Jones could land 6 home games for us in this situation, he should get a crown on his head. Don't you agree?
You know, the football night's already been announced. It's going to be August the 15th in the stadium on the field.
That'll be fun.
So
Michael,
you were the legendary announcer for that for so many years until
I did it for over 30 years.
you did more than announce, didn't you?
They forced you out and let McKnight start doing it.
Yeah, they forced me out, Mike. I was forced out. Hey, listen, that's the most joyous being forced out I've ever been in my life.
But didn't you collect half the stuff that was auctioned off? And I mean,
I collected over 100 door prizes in Montgomery, Troy, Prattville.
how much time would that have
Him and
taken?
Raymond.
A lot of time, but you know, I did it for so long. Like when I'd go to, how about this?
And I bet you 90% of people you talked to said yes. didn't
Yeah,
they?
that's right. And in Montgomery, I went to George Wallace's restaurant. You know what the restaurant that was?
The Sahara.
The Sahara. And every time they give me a $30 gift certificate. Back then, that was a pretty good meal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember the Sahara well.
Oh yeah, and of course, you know, those great places, and that's another good topic we can get on. Some of the great places in Alabama. Martin's restaurant and the Sahara restaurant in Montgomery would be two.
But what was the one that was downtown? That was.
Oh, it was wonderful. They had the best
I've
stuff.
hit a senior moment.
Let me
That
tell you,
was, I thought, the most famous restaurant in Alabama. The most famous restaurant in Alabama. I can't remember it now.
well,
But
the
downtown,
Bright Star in Bessemer is one of the most famous restaurants in Alabama. That's where Coach Bryant used to eat all the
right
time.
across from where Colonial Bank was, and
I'll tell you
right near the
exactly.
fountain, it was the restaurant.
I'll
Everybody
tell you
knows
what they specialized in. They had stuffed flounder. We'd be going to a ball game with Calhoun and Falk, and we would call ahead and tell the people at what restaurant we were going to be talking about. If they're watching this morning, somebody needs to call in. But that was a great restaurant, like you said, in downtown Montgomery. And we would go ahead and order our flounder as we came back through. So
Yeah, it was-
we would order.
I got to eat there a couple times. and
We
it was
would
prime.
order our flounder that Saturday morning when we were going to the game to make sure that we got a flounder that night, because they always ran out. So you had to call ahead and get your reservations on your flounder. Can you remember that?
Yeah, it's where everybody went for big
Yeah.
events and great service.
Right
and,
down the corner, and of course now a
Well,
lot of that,
but you're talking Martin's would certainly qualify.
Yeah, Martin's restaurant. a lot of great ones. Of course, you know, Sisters right here in Troy would probably be one that would be famous.
If we're talking about statewide,
Yeah.
Sisters was Crow's Chicken is
Yeah,
known
Crow's Chicken
statewide.
is known statewide, no question about it. And still, let me tell
Yeah,
you
those are
this.
the beach the other day. I think with the Guthrie's down in Panama City Beach on near Pier Park. You don't see Guthrie's.
No, and Guthrie's started in Birmingham. Is that right?
I can't remember. I thought it was started in Auburn.
Well, maybe it did. Maybe it did start in Auburn, but that was a great restaurant. Let me tell you this.
Oh, Guthrie's wasn't. I mean, it didn't even compare to Crow's.
If you give me a second, I want to tell you something. Crow's Chicken is back in a big way on North 39th Street right here in Troy. I've ordered chicken nuggets many times recently from there. But let me tell you what I ordered Sunday, and I loved. My wife and I both really enjoyed fried catfish.
Okay.
You can buy fried catfish at
Crow's on North
Groves
39th
now,
Street.
and they've also got pork chops. They got hamburgers, hot dogs. Their menu has been really increased, of course, you know, to go with that world famous chicken nuggets. they're chicken nuggets, and I saw a guy the other day, and he had a hat on. I want to say it was a Columbus, for some Columbus, Georgia high school. And I said, you must be traveling through. And he said, yeah, we're going back from the beach on 29 and back to Columbus. And I said, well, are you used to stopping here at Crow's? He said, I've been eating at Crow's since 1980 was when I went to college here. And he said, every time we go to the beach, we catch Crow's coming back through.
How about that? That's a good story, Mike.
And the Crow's is a great place to eat, and it's located on the corner of Highway 231 and Highway 29.
I remember Twix and Tween barbecue.
Twix and Tween.
Everybody, all Alabama fans knew it. Jim's barbecue still on the way.
Jim's barbecue is huge.
Jim's is the best.
Jim's, we think Jim's is as good a barbecue as there is anywhere.
Russo's in Mobile.
Russo's would be a famous restaurant, no question about it.
Wenzel's Oyster House in Mobile. I mean, now it's been franchised, but I'm talking about the Dreamland Barbecue in Tuscaloosa. The original, man, I ate it when I was a student for 2.5 years in Tuscaloosa. I was sure to eat it, the original Dreamland, as often as I could.
You had the 15th Street Diner, of course, the storm blew it down. That was a great place to eat.
What was that?
Nicky's West in Birmingham.
Yeah, Nicky's West. You ever eaten at Nicky's West?
I've eaten at Nick's and the Sticks in Tuscaloosa many times.
I've been to Nick's and Sticks too. That's really good.
Nick could get a
Well, I'll tell you this: Nicky's restaurant on Finley in Birmingham is a wonderful place to eat. It really is.
Ollie's Barbecue was
there. Go there.
What now, Mike?
About 1,000 people a day go there.
Yeah, go through Nicky's, and you know, one of my favorite things that Nicky's has is a slaw, the grated slaw. And with the French dressing on it, boy, that's good, and that's one of Nicky's.
What's the famous restaurant in Bessemer? You mentioned it a little.
Bright Star, yeah. Bright Star is one of the oldest restaurants.
Bright Star once a week. They're known for their grouper throats.
When I was a student in Tuscaloosa, where we went for the meat and threes for $3, I believe, was City Cafe in Northport, yeah.
City Cafe in Montgomery.
It's still there. It's still there, I think, isn't it, Michael?
Yeah, I used to go there. I mean, I was working in Tuscaloosa, and I guess probably 3 years ago, I guess, and I used to go eat lunch there at least once a week.
The Waysider in Tuscaloosa is everybody knows it for
great
breakfast
place.
Waysider, okay.
Yeah, Tuscaloosa's got some really good restaurants.
Of course, against also our favorite breakfast place in the world, Mike, is located where?
Sunnyside Grill?
Sunnyside Grill, located in Front Beach Road, Panama City Beach. And let me tell you this.
And the most famous restaurant in Panama City Beach is obviously Captain Anderson. Right.
Well, yeah, of course, you know, it is, but it's a long ways to go.
Angelo's Steak Pit used to be a close second, right?
I'll tell you right now, and everybody said, well, that's fried food, but give me Hunt's in Panama City, down there on the right down there. Yeah, St. Andrews, and of course, their fried oysters are the best in the country. Wonderful fried oysters. Not just anybody knows how to fry oysters, I'm telling you. And it is the best. Were you looking for a flea in your head, Mike? What are you looking for, man?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see.
Hey, you look pretty good right there. Of course, they're gonna bury.
I got a lot of sun. I got a lot of sun over the weekend. I'm kind of red.
Well, I tell you, on a sad note, our dear friend Ralph Black, Holy Mackerel, the great one, will be buried today at 10. Funeral services is at 10 o'clock today. Green Hills Funeral Home, and it's right here in Troy. And of course, Ralph really was a great man, and will leave a legacy that will never go away. I don't believe, as long as the annals of Troy University sports is talked about, or local sports.
He was the voice of Troy for, gosh, you know, from the late 70s on until today.
Exactly right. I can see Ralph always was sort of big, and but he was very athletic. And let me tell you something else about Ralph, Mike, that he and I had in common. What would you think that would be, other than talking about sports and doing play-by-play?
You like to drink coffee?
Oh, well, yeah, we like to drink coffee. He was always at the 3 o'clock coffee shop at McDonald's, but it was something that he loved to do that I love to do today.
Ride a bike.
And I can't see Ralph riding a bike, but I rode a bike for a long time. It's dance, Mike. He was a great dancer. He loved to dance.
What instrument did he play? You know, he was in the Auburn Knights. He obviously has a great musical talent.
I want to say he played
Some horn or something.
He played the sax, and he also played the. Okay, here's a call coming in. Let's see what we got here this morning.
Should be Max.
Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Marcus, Max, how are you this morning?
Max Howell calling in from Fulton, Mississippi this morning on the Today in L.A. show. And Max, it's always good to hear from you. Max Howell, one of the leading sports analysts in the country. And Max, people have been waiting a week to find out what's happening in football.
I'm going to tell you, Mike, everybody, I think all over the country happens to be right now. You know, we know what the Big Ten did. We know what the Pac did. But we don't know. We've heard rumors about what the SEC and the Big 12 and the ACC is going to do. And I know Troy's sitting up. I called the athletic department down there yesterday, and they kind of know. They know the SWAC with Arkansas Pine Bluff. They moved their schedule to the spring, so that makes one opening for Troy. But we don't know about Tennessee and NC State yet.
Yeah.
So, the word I'm getting now is that by the end of the week, hopefully by the weekend, the SEC will make an announcement. But knowing the way they work, Mike, I would not be surprised if they won't make a move to the Big 12 and the ACC, decide what they're going to do.
You know something, and this was bold news to me, about Troy's schedule. He says that at this point we have every intention of playing a full 12-game football season, which includes 6 home games. I told somebody, well, I've been saying this all along, if Troy can play, I'll get it. If Troy can play 6 home games, even if they didn't play but 3 other games, if they could play 6 home games, that'd be a coup right there, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, so what has the Sun Belt done? I've not read one word about their release. What are they doing about rescheduling for games that they've had dropped? What are they going to pick up those extra games? What is Troy to go to replace? For example, what if Tennessee SEC says, conference only? What if ACC says that? Now all of a sudden, Troy's got 3 vacancies on their schedule. Where do they go to get games?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other quote here, it says the Trojans, along with Arkansas Pine Bluff, play a total of 4 non-conference games. The Trojans will also play North Carolina State, UMass, and Tennessee. It act like those games are still on. I don't know what's the deal. Let me put you on hold a second. Max will come right back to you. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, Mike. Will Matthews.
All right, Will, we're going to put you on hold. I got Max on the other line. Going to put you on hold. We'll be right back with you.
All right.
All right, now we got that. Okay, Rice Jr., here we go. This is how you do it.
Conference.
All right, one more. We got them. Got both of them. Good morning to Will Matthews, ladies and gentlemen, our local attorney from Ozark, Alabama. Good morning, Will. How you doing?
Doing good.
Well, one of your boyhood idols is on the other line. His name's Max. Do you know who we're talking about?
Yeah, I think I was 4 or 5 years old when he was in Carolina.
Max, he claimed that you were his boyhood idol, but he wasn't but 4 years old.
Well, I tell you what, Will's been around a while himself. I'm just proud to be here, Will. That's all I can say.
Well, I tell you what, we're very fortunate to have Max on our show. And, Will, we're talking about college football. Will we have college football? What is your opinion?
I woke up from a dream this morning.
Oh, boy.
And I wish there was a way I could make money on it. But I think they ought to say, you've seen these face masks that have the plastic cover on them?
Yeah.
I think they ought to decree every football player has to wear that mask while this pandemic's going on.
I agree.
That would cut down a lot of the, you know.
Oh,
and maybe
just
that
put a
every football player.
put a plastic
every
shield
football
over the face
player-
mask.
Yeah, it's a plastic shield. Now, you've seen them. I know a lot of
I've
players
seen them, yeah.
play with them.
Yeah.
And then have something covering your hands like gloves. You know, I know a lot of players don't like to play with gloves, but that would cut back on any possible transmission of anything.
Well, here's what I'm hearing. Here's where I'm hearing right now from the athletic departments. I've talked to Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Florida, Tennessee. They're drifting more to the cost of the testing. I know what you saw yesterday. The NFL announced they're going to test every player every day. It's going to cost them $75 million to do that. That's an extreme. We know that. But I take it to the other end. What about schools? And maybe Troy may fall in this, but I overhear Delta State, Jackson State, and several of the SWAC schools. They don't have the money to do that.
No.
They don't have the money to run one test. To get them in school.
Well, what about the high schools, Max? Too.
Yeah, well, see that I think they leave that to the parents. You know, it's not like once you get them away from their parents, then it becomes institutional responsibility. As long as they're in high school, they still have a parental responsibility, and it's up to them whether they let them play or not.
Yeah. You know, the thing that we don't think about is, with this situation is the legal part of it. You know,
That's true.
I mean, how you gonna stay away from lawsuits?
Well, I think
Sign a waiver.
we did. I think what's happening, guys, is also, and Will can address this. A lot of the delay right now from the conferences, they're trying to restructure how they're handling the broken contracts. I'm sure that a lot of them will have some out clauses. The people in Tennessee, I didn't go right straight to Phil Fulmer on this, but I know some pretty big contributors up there. They say that athletic department, if they go that, they're willing to write Troy the check for $1.1 million and just take them off the schedule, and Troy doesn't lose on that financially. But how many other schools can afford to do that? Yeah. See, I think there's so much complication internally, particularly with the legal side and the responsibility side, is the reason why we haven't heard from 2 or 3 of the conferences yet.
That would actually let Troy make even more money, because then they wouldn't have to have the expense of busing everybody up there and getting the hotel, et cetera, et cetera.
But here's the other side of that, Bill. Troy will want to pick up another game in that slot to pad there. But where they going to get the game? Here's what's happening. It's a domino effect. Southern Miss, the SWAC team, I think Arkansas, Pine Bluff was on Southern Miss's schedule. They dropped off. Jeremy right now is scratching like Dickens trying to find somebody that'll come to Hattiesburg.
I've heard that South Alabama might be that team. Have you heard that South Alabama might play?
They're opening the season with Southern Miss.
But was that on their regular schedule, or they've just added
Yeah,
that?
that was on their regular schedule. Troy was playing Palm Bluff.
Oh, okay. This is a great opportunity for Troy, Max.
Troy needs to get in with Conference USA and say, hey, we need to play each other to get through this season. That's the only way you can do it, to get to at least 10 games.
Yeah, exactly. That's what surprised me so much, that the athletic director at Troy thinks they can play 12 games. Gosh, that hadn't even been in my mind. I was hoping for 10 and possibility, if not 8.
Well, I was reading a little of Joseph Goodman's column on AL.com this morning. He's replaced Kevin Skarbinski as their main sports columnist. Yeah. And he said the SEC and everybody should follow the SWAC's lead and kick football back to January, which I guess you've kind of been saying all along, Mike. Yeah. And just give up on playing in
guys, I'm going to tell you, financially, that will not work.
Well, I think so too, Max. Yeah.
There's no way you can make, as an athletic department, let's just say, let's go to the SEC in the big schools where they got $150 million budgets. It is not going to work in the spring. The NFL has tried it 5 times, and they failed every time to do spring football.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the players won't be playing. The star players won't be playing. It's just
exactly right. Exactly right.
We're going to take a short break here, and we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
I'm gonna go get me some coffee.
You know, we have to go get.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Here at Bill Jackson Chevrolet in Troy, we've been doing business the right way for 31 years. But don't take our word for it. We feel our customers express it the best.
Been honest in everything we've discussed with them.
When they say Jackson Satisfaction, they really mean it.
The Jackson Satisfaction is real.
Call Jim Mullis with Pawnstalkers 2 for all your pawn stocking needs. They have koi, bass, catfish, crappie, bluegill, shellcracker, grass carp, and many more. Pawnstalkers 2 is a small, family-owned and operated business that enjoys sharing their knowledge and experience with you to help you get the most out of your pond. Jim Mullis also supplies fountains, windmills, aerators, fish feeders, turtle traps, pond dyes, pond conditioner, bacteria blocks, and much more. Call Jim at 334-403-2582.
Troy Cable Security Wi-Fi doorbell camera allows you to answer the door from your smartphone when you are at home, at work, or on the go. When a visitor presses the button, Troy Cable Security sends a live video feed to your smartphone so you can see, hear, and speak to the person at your door. With the doorbell camera, you can have your porch light turn on automatically when it detects motion at night to create the appearance that someone is at home. You can view video clips so you can always know who stopped by when you are out. Troy Cable Security. You love them, protect them.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance needs.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Here Here at Bill Jackson Chevrolet in Troy, we've been doing business the right way for 31 years. But don't take our word for it. We feel our customers express it the best.
Been honest in everything we've discussed with them.
When they say Jackson Satisfaction, they really mean it. The Jackson Satisfaction is real.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or...
All right, we're back.
Back to our show, brought to you by Express Oil Change on the Bypass, and of course, they've been a part of this show since the very beginning, and we appreciate them. Also, Wells Fargo Advisors, my good friend Colin McCrary, can make your money grow. Believe you me. And right now, a lot of folks have been wondering what to do with their money. I need to call
Colin will take care of you, no doubt about it.
Little Caesar is probably the best buy out there, Max. When you get hungry, Little Caesar is going to feed you for $5.39, and I mean it's good.
That's pretty good. That's
Max
good.
Hall
Yeah.
is our guest from Fulton, Mississippi this morning, and he talks to a lot of different people over a week, every week. Max, what are they thinking?
Well, I think the whole thing is everybody's got an opinion, but there's been nothing that come together. For example, with the Southeastern Conference, and that's where that's the start, because the conference itself and with the Southeastern Conference, they dictate the scheduling. So that's the first. Now I've already seen where Texas is going to allow 50% ticket sales in their stadium. I think Ole Miss is going to try to do 50%. They've already cut out the tailgating at Mississippi State, so they don't know how that's going to affect the ticket sales right now. So there's different aspects of things going on, and until somebody talks about the schedule itself, how many games, who they're going to play, I think a lot of this other stuff is just going to be sitting on the sideline, and those decisions, need to be made pretty quick now.
Yeah, Johnny Williams told us that he thinks they got to be made by August 1st. At the late, there's so many things that you've got to know the plan for an event, and I mean, so that's within less than 10 days.
Well, I can see the bands going to the stadium and distancing themselves from 6 feet, distancing themselves, and the whole south end zone will be full of band, distancing themselves 6 feet. And they cannot come out on the field and play, but they can play from the stands, which is, is good as far as I'm concerned.
But then you say, well, how do they practice before they get to the stadium? That's where I would.
Well, they don't have a lot of practicing they got to do, to tell you the truth.
Well, that's what I mean.
They play from the end zone. They will not appear on the field. If you think about it, look at pro football. They don't have marching bands, but they have music systems and so forth. But I think, Troy, that would be pretty impressive to see a 350-piece band in the south end zone blowing their hearts out, at every ball game.
Well, does that affect ticket sales, though?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You're right. It doesn't affect ticket sales.
So, and how do they determine? Well, Troy first have to determine what percent of ticket sales they're going to allow in, and then they set aside that for students, because the student ticket, the ticket allocations for students is a major concern for every university right now, no matter whether they're band members and or just regular students.
Yeah.
How do they determine?
You know what, Johnny said something, he said a lot of interesting stuff yesterday, but he said there's a computer program where somebody buys tickets, say they buy 4 for their wife, husband, 2 kids, then the computer program automatically takes out all seats within 6 feet of those 4 people, so those tickets cannot be sold. That gives you your social distancing, and you go on.
But let me ask you this, Bill: who makes the determination of what tickets are sold and what not? Who has the priority?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's one of the other 100 issues.
For example, here's one right now, guys. Alabama's already sold 80,000 season tickets. Are they going to put 80,000 in Bryant-Denny? I don't think so.
No. So they got to. In other words, you're saying they got to go and tell at least 30,000 of those people, sorry.
Are they going to give refunds back? Are they going to let that count as a contribution to the athletic department?
You talk about lawsuits. If
They'll get refunds. All of them will get refunded. Max, I think they're going to go with no fans to start the year. I really do.
I believe that too.
I think they're going to go no fans, just like the NFL. They're going to follow the NFL. Whatever the NFL does, they're going to follow.
I look for them to have also a delayed starting date. I'm thinking maybe around the 12th of September. They take that first game or two off their schedule. And if they do that, now the next question is if they just play 10, if they play, I know the SEC's got 2 or 3 really prototypes on the table where they play an 8 conference game and a +1 or a +2, and let the universities pick up another game or two outside the Power 5. So
Max, they've got 3 games in Atlanta. The first 3 weeks, those Chick-fil-A games. Auburn's in the second game. They have not canceled those games yet.
I know that.
And that's kind of weird, to say the least. I don't know if they're going to go with no fans or what they're going to do.
I bet
well, I know Auburn plays North Carolina, so but what if the ACC says we're going to play conference only?
Yeah, I would guess that game is off. It's probably going to be off.
Well, it is not.
ACC and SEC has got to go together, I would say, because there's so many rivalry games involved. I mean, Florida State, Florida, South Carolina, Clemson. I mean, there's a lot. That's the
8+1. That is the 8+1 concept right there.
So maybe they won't play
those 3 games, those 3 states with those games. I understand that, but then I guess the whole point is that maybe the athletic directors happen to already know this. It just hadn't been released yet. But somebody's got to be out there trying to schedule those games if any of them are coming off the schedule.
We don't talk about this, y'all, but what do you think is going to happen to high school football? That's the feeder program for college. I mean,
Thursday they got a big 1 o'clock deal on Thursday that's going to make answer a lot of questions from the high school athletics.
Mississippi's already announced what they're moving it back 2 weeks. The 1A and 2A are only playing 7 games this year, plus the playoffs. The 4, 5, and 6A schools are going to play a regular 10-game schedule. Right now the plans, I've already seen it's already been released up here. The playoffs and everything will be finished by Thanksgiving weekend. That's already set and done, and the coaches already got the kids on the field. They're working toward that. They aren't going to start. Usually they start in August the 24th. I think they start September the 7th or something like that in Mississippi this year.
Georgia's doing the same thing.
What am I?
Georgia's going to do the same thing. They're pushing it back 2 weeks.
Well, all right, look for Alabama to do the same thing. I would think there's a big press conference coming up on Thursday, so we'll know a lot. The most positive thing, ladies and gentlemen, to start today was how positive Troy Athletic Director Brent Jones is about what's going on. Jones sent out a release on Thursday regarding the suspended SWAC football schedule, and now Troy, of course, got to find somebody to fill that opening.
Well,
day
how are you going to play? I want to go back to high school. We got the players, but what about the fans? Are they going to have the same social distancing requirements at stadiums? And how do you do that in some of these stadiums that have these little bleachers? You can't separate people by 6 feet in these. I mean, you could do it at Memorial Stadium for a Charles Emerson game, but that's atypical, of course.
Yeah, are you going to
are you going to allow the bands at the high school games? I mean,
are you going to have to sit in your seat the whole game and not move? You want to go to the concession stand or go to the bathroom?
Can the kids run around and play tackle football on the grass like they do?
I mean, people are going to interact. It makes no sense.
It looks like that, of course, everybody's trying to come up with a solution in these high schools. And, of course, we've got two local school boards here, and one of them's in Pike County High School, and those schools involved. And then, of course, Troy City Schools. It's got a real good article in today's Messenger about what they're going to do and so forth to start school and so forth. Again, the right answers in athletics and the right answers we don't know as far as football goes. And I'm thinking as positive as Brent Jones is, have you seen anybody that out there that's been thinking about a 12-man schedule instead of a 10-man schedule, Max?
Well, here's the thing about that. Why I say the conferences, and I'm thinking about Troy with the Sun Belt. Let's just say Troy schedules 12, and South Alabama only schedules 9 because they can't get them bigger. On one loss, how do they determine who wins the championship? How do they determine bowl eligibility when they have a mismatch in numbers and a mismatch in one-loss games?
That's right.
I mean, if it's not consistent, you can put an asterisk by 1-9. It lost 3 at 12, but the team that won 9, they've only played 9. Who gets the coin toss?
Well, I tell you what, it would be a big advantage for the team that played 12 because all you needed was 6 to make a bowl game, and that gives them more opportunities to make a bowl game.
But that wasn't the university's fault. They couldn't schedule 12.
That's right.
I'm thinking about the playoffs.
You gonna penalize them just because they couldn't get 12 games?
I'm looking at the 4-game playoff, and if you have a SEC playing 10 games, and the ACC playing 10 games, and the Big Ten playing 10 games, the teams in the SEC that got to play these extra games are playing a much tougher schedule, and they're going to have more losses. Well, how's the playoff committee going to decide? Does a two?
They'll probably use a weighted schedule on that bill. They'll use a one-loss versus strength of schedule. And how do you do strength of schedule? You go down to your opponent's opponent. That'll all be computerized.
So if you have 2 losses in the SEC, you might be that might be okay. They might consider that.
Yeah. Let's say it's Auburn and they lost to Alabama and LSU.
Yeah.
That would be weighted more than had they lost, to Ole Miss and Mississippi State, for example.
I would say, Auburn losing 2 games to those teams would be just as impressive as, somebody in the ACC losing 1 game or no games even.
Very true. See, that's why I think they have to go to a weighted schedule of that. And look at not only who they played, but who the opponents played to try to come up with it. And hopefully this thing's just going to be a 1-year deal. But the more people I talk to, I'm not real sure that the athletic directors and the conference people aren't looking further than just a 1-year deal.
I think
this is going to kind of be a try.
Phil come out with his poll, and Phil still had USC at number 11, so that's going to hurt Alabama too. That been a pretty big
Max,
to start the season.
Hey guys, I don't think I honestly don't believe they're going to play with fans this year. I just don't see how they can do it. I don't think they'll have fans, and they might have a band there. Who knows? And spread them all out, but I don't think they're going to have fans. Because if they had fans and they had half of them, the other half are going to sue the crap out of them for not getting to go. Yeah. And the big beneficiaries would be these ticket scalpers. They'll make a fortune selling the tickets.
Hey,
Well,
I'm tickled, y'all. I'm tickled right now. Can you see those cheerleaders cheering on a bunch of empty seats?
Hey, Will, you can't sell the tickets because they're not printing tickets. I mean,
over your phone.
How are you going to do that? In fact, somebody's got to figure out how you transfer tickets digitally.
Let me ask you this, let me tell you the other side of that. What about schools like Ole Miss is already $4 million in debt because they've been on probation. They have to depend on that money, on that gate money, to take care of some of the other sports. Did they just cut those off? All right, so let's go to the next step. NCAA mandates you have to have 18 sports to remain a Division I school. So what does the NCAA do about that?
Oh, yeah.
They can have Max, they'll have the sports. They just won't have scholarships. They'll have a bunch of walk-offs playing all the.
So they're going to be it's going to be a club level.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what you'll see. There'll be somebody that'll play just for the hell of it.
Yeah. Good chance for little Johnny to make the tennis team, isn't it?
Oh,
What's going to happen out in Vegas, Will? All these Vegas bets you can make on Heisman Trophy, and you can make bets on number of wins. I mean, all that's going to be off the board now.
They're not. Hey, Michael, they're not taking bets on any of those prop bets yet. Yeah. So they'll come out when the announcements are made, the games and all that. You'll be able to bet on everything. I imagine.
I can hear it right now, though. The quarterback at Washington State is not going to play in the game due to the COVID-19. and we're gonna play our third string quarterback. He's gonna start Saturday. You're gonna have a lot of that, aren't you?
They'd have to release that early.
All right. Did y'all know you can bet on golf?
No.
Yeah, I did.
All right.
I didn't know that.
I want you to listen to this. This is the most amazing thing I've ever heard. A guy in Las Vegas. In golf, you can bet the pairings the last day, and they give odds. Okay. John Rahm was playing with Palmer, Ryan Palmer, whatever his name is.
That's right.
All right. He was favored 2.5 to 1 to beat him. There was a guy that put $500,000 on John Rahm to beat Palmer. Well, John Rahm finishes with a 73 and Palmer has a 74. So guess what? He's going to win $500,000. Wrong answer. They penalized him 2 strokes after the round. He ends up shooting a 75, and the guy lost his money.
Oh, God.
How did he
And there
get
was another
penalized?
case when the ball moved when he was on number 16.
I saw him replaying that, so they later, it didn't cost him his title. They just took 2 strokes off.
But another thing, and then after that was announced, some other guy, he didn't bet much. He had like 10,000. That's a lot, but I mean, he bet 10,000 on the over/under of Rahm, and the over/under on Rahm for the last day was 73.5.
Oh, wow.
And he bet under 73.5. Well, he would have won, and then the two shot penalty put it to 75, and he ended up losing. So,
that's why they call it gambling.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right.
That's why they call it Vegas.
Oh man.
That is Vegas.
But you know what? You think of those poor old, y'all don't y'all feel sorry for those poor old bookies that haven't got anything to bet on until tomorrow? They can bet on Major League Baseball.
They'll do. Yeah. If it came down to it and colleges couldn't play, Vegas would come up with a pile of money to let them play.
I'll guarantee you this: that Thursday might be the biggest betting day in history. Thursday
for baseball. Yeah.
Well, for any sport, because everybody's been so eager to bet on something, you know.
Oh yeah.
See, the sports books in Mississippi, man, I'm gonna tell you, they line up. That's you go to any casino over here, and they've gotten away from from the blackjack tables. Everything they line up at that sports book counter.
Right.
I mean everywhere. I've been a couple of times just to sit in the lobby and watch a game. But I love just watch the people.
Max on Sundays at Gulfport, where I go, on Sundays at 8 o'clock in the morning, there'll be 200 or 300 people lined up to make their NFL bets.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And then they'll hang around there to try to, you know what? But it's so smart. The gambling people are so smart. They got to hang around there to actually get the money if they win. Isn't that right?
Yeah, so they're buying drinks and French fries the whole time.
So if they hang around there, what are they going to do? Play the slots and play the game, the table.
You pay up front.
I know you pay up front, but to get paid, don't you have to hang around?
Yeah, you can come back later
you
too.
can come back.
Okay.
But most won't. Most will say there. You're right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking sports today on Today in L.A. And of course, again, Max Howell. We lost a great, legendary sports announcer this week when Ralph Black died. You know Ralph.
Oh, very well, very well.
And of course, he died, and of course, his legacy though will live on in the hearts and minds of all Trojans everywhere. Holy mackerel was the thing he'd always say when Ted Clem hit that, kicked that field goal from 50 yards out with no time left on the clock. The first thing that came out of Ralph Black's mouth was, "Holy cow!" Holy mackerel! Holy mackerel was what he said. And we on this show yesterday had a playback on that, and I thought it was good. If we still got it, I'd love to hear it one more time.
We had that on Monday.
Yeah. Exactly right.
I tell you, what town Troy size has an announcer that good as Ralph Black was?
That's right. We were very fortunate.
Barry McKnight's really good too.
Oh yeah,
no question about it. They're not taking anything away from him.
But Ralph was that he did local radio in addition to just Troy football, which Mary does.
Exactly right. I listened to the morning show. Of course, Pappy Talbot was the guy that made it a signature show for so many years. But
Ralph did high school games. He did Dixie Youth State Tournament games.
And then from 2002, starting in 2002, he worked on the morning show and did a great job.
He did the morning show. He did the public address announcements, football games. Quite a life.
Yeah, no question about it. And of course,
all the players are back on campus now, so all the players are actually practicing.
Oh yeah,
they Alabama and Auburn. They can actually meet with their actual coaches now.
Yeah.
They gave them an extra couple of weeks to get ready for the season. So
yeah, I would like to be around some of this, Max. This is going to be quite a deal scheduling. Don't you know the ADs around the country are going to be busy.
Oh, they're scrambling right now.
Trying to get that 12th game or that 11th game. It's a big time.
I think, of course, again, that's why I guess I get hung up.
But like you said, everybody's concerned about the conference play if they can get 10, but then they would love to be able to get 12, to make more money.
Well, that's true, Mike, but the conference has to have a say-so. They can't let one school have 9 games and one have 12.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and then I'll tell you, if the SEC goes to this all SEC schedule, say it's 9 games or 10 games, man, that's tough. Max, you're an old football coach. That's no breathers. That's no gimmies at all. Yeah. I mean, every week you're going to be playing tough games.
Yeah. Of course,
what it is, those are all, that's internal stuff once that's set. But there's no way to prepare for that. A lot of them schools, for example, the coaching staff, when they're not on the field, they're already breaking tapes down and all getting game plans ready for game 3 or 4 weeks down the road. And they can't do that yet.
Well, you can.
We got all kind of backlash in this.
You can expect to have some games where you could rest your starters and put some good PT for your backups. That might not be that won't be as common this year.
That's important, I know, but it's not as important if I'm going to play 10 as opposed to adding another 2 weeks to it.
Yeah, you won't hear the word red shirt this year. There won't be any red shirt players.
Yeah. But I guess they're not budgeting in open weeks, though. If they're starting the season later, they're going to have to be playing pretty much every week, right? So
they do.
Yeah.
But let me tell you what that does, though. That puts the pressure on the coaches to be sure that those 2s and 3s are getting enough steps during the week that they play on Saturday.
Yeah. I'm thinking before every game, everybody talks about the legalities of all of this. What if somebody came down with the virus and they wanted to sue somebody? I would think that the NCAA and all of the people involved, high school and college, would make each individual sign a waiver that we're not responsible for this and that. Wouldn't you think that they would almost have to do that before every game?
I guess I'm going to leave that answer up to Will, because if you're away from home and on campus, there's still got to be some responsibility there, Mike.
Yeah.
You're not going you get away with it better from a guy that buys a ticket from a fan than you will having a player on campus as a student.
What do you think about that, Will? What are your as an attorney? What would you think about that? What do you think the schools need to do?
Will's gone.
We lost Will.
We'll have to go in.
When you want Will, you can't get him.
I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express last night, so I probably could answer that.
No question about it, Mike. What do you think? Mike Amos coming to you on Zoom television. Is that right?
Yeah, this is off my amazing little tablet computer.
Where are my little grandchildren? Are they running around anywhere?
Yeah, I hear them as we speak. They're running around. Still enjoying the summer.
How's the weather down there, Max? Max wants you to get him a free room, Mike.
I'll tell you what, it's gorgeous down here. The water is beautiful again this week.
Max, the Red Bar is open now, and
I saw that.
everybody's excited about eating at the Red Bar. In fact, Max, if you act right, Mike might let you park in his backyard. He's not but a block away from the Red Bar.
Yeah, I'm counting on coming later in the summer, early fall.
Yeah.
I tell you.
You know, on the
I'll tell you what, it has slowed down here a bit. We have more people down here this week than I think we've had all summer.
And we throw out our opinions, and these are strictly our opinions. And Max, I know you've been on some big radio shows, and but everybody's asking the same thing: will we have a college football year? From the way this Troy AD had it to play 12 games, gosh, I was worried about playing 8 games. Max, he's got me feeling pretty good about things.
Well, again, that tells me that the conferences having no say-so over, who schedules who. They let every school take care of its own.
Yeah.
The SEC doesn't operate that way.
Yeah.
So whoever, the SEC will dictate, and even they'll dictate who you go play within the conference.
Yeah. We know Troy's got an open date, and everybody was talking about play Auburn. You know what? Auburn's got the same open date Troy does.
No.
Wouldn't that be a great opportunity for Troy?
Well, again, I know nothing's going to change right now until the SEC says, we're going to do 8+1, 8+2, or 12, or whatever it might be, whatever that number.
Exactly.
And then they're going to have the guidelines. And then even with the SEC, Mike, the SEC's going to give them a list of conferences that they can go to schedule.
Yeah.
They aren't going to let them go out there and schedule anybody they can just to get a game.
It's
going to be about Troy. I don't see how Troy's been able to do that.
On these tests, they're testing.
Guys, we got terrible feedback in this thing. I can hardly hear.
I'm sorry.
On these tests they're giving the college football players, you get reports of what the results are, and some of them, I'm studying those for a story I'm working on. I'm interested in how many players are asymptomatic. Well, I learned that Alabama had 8 positive tests a couple weeks ago. Y'all might remember. As far as I can tell, they were all asymptomatic. So that's 8 players. But they're not just testing the players. They're testing the scholarship players, the walk-ons, the managers, the trainers, the coaches. So you assume they probably did about 150 tests, right?
Yeah.
So 8 into 150, that's, about 5% positive. Auburn,
but let's do the other side of that, though, Bill. Let's say 150 times $100.
Yeah, that's the money is massive.
Do it at least once a week.
Yeah,
for 12 or 15 weeks.
Twice a week, yeah.
Delta State, and some of the smaller schools can afford that.
Oh, yeah, but I agree with that, too. Auburn, I think, had 3 players. They were all asymptomatic, so 3 out of 150 is a very small percentage. Troy had a group of people and staff, is the quote I found. So I'm saying that's maybe 4 out of 150. So very small percentages of players are actually, and staff and managers are testing positive, and just about all of them are asymptomatic. They don't have symptoms. So you put that together, there's really no risk whatsoever for the players and even the staff. So the only thing I can think is they're worried about the outside chance that these young people who are going to be healthy and fine give the virus to the older coaches and trainers and managers. And then it's a completely separate question about fans congregating, which common sense says, when a bunch of people bunch up in the stadium, the virus could spread. But my main point is that as far as the 18 to 24-year-old kids and the test results I'm seeing and the number that are asymptomatic, we're making a big deal over something that's really not a health risk to these people at all.
All right, Bill, let me throw you another curve. That's well and good right now because the kids are confined. What about when school starts?
Yeah.
They got to go to class every day.
Yeah, that's true. They're going to be exposed to a lot more people that can give it to them, yeah.
What about the NBA bubble down in Orlando? All the NBA teams have been in a bubble. They're all playing down there for the World Championship. And they tested every single player, every single coach on Monday. 375 people, not one positive.
That's something.
Well, the bubble's working, isn't it? Yeah.
So they're doing something right.
Yeah.
Well, they're keeping them in that bubble. Yeah, they can't get out.
Now, I know it's a money situation, Max, and I know you got to sell tickets and you got to have revenue. But I could see them doing this on television. I could see them doing this without fans in the stadium. I could see that. with the band and the game going on, I could sit. I got a big 70-inch TV. I could sit back and enjoy that ball game just as much as if I was there.
I'm gonna be watching 10 games at once instead of one. Yeah.
Max, but the key though is money. I mean, how would you do the money part of it?
Well, I see that's another whole contractual thing. Does ESPN still provide X number of contracts for X number of schools? I know Bill proposed one time, and I've used that a couple of times about selling pay-per-view. But then now that becomes a competitive thing with the networks to even get the signal there. For example, if Alabama's got a contract with CBS, the SEC, then now they want to go out and provide a pay-per-view. Do they do that in addition?
Yeah.
Now they become a competitor with the SEC.
They couldn't do it. They can't do it while these contracts are still active. And I think, like you said, these contracts go out 7 or 8 years. So that might be an option in the future, but you got to wait 7 or 8 years before you can do it.
Very true. Very true.
That's right. Well, boy, this is quite a can of worms you opened up, Max. You started all of this.
Well, we all just want football. And then think about...
Mike, I don't have anything to do anymore. I just sit here and doodle and make phone calls.
And your buddies up in northern Mississippi are going to still be hungry on Sundays as long as you can feed them. As long as you can feed them on Sundays, Max, they're going to be happy.
I can hear some people in the audience.
You're right, but I'm going to tell you, it has been so hot up here. We've had at least 100-degree temperature with 80 and 90% humidity every day for a month.
You're right.
I mean, it's awful. Yeah, I mean, I can't even get out on my deck. The wind is hot.
I know it. We're talking a lot about football, and I can hear people in the audience saying, well, we don't care about football. Well, if they're watching our show, they probably do care about football. But what we're talking about actually affects the rest of the campus enrollment, right? Because if you have no football, don't you think a lot of undergraduate students, if you say you have no football and you're going to have all these crazy things, they might say, I'm just not going to go to college this semester. I'm going to postpone it.
Let me tell you a positive thing, very positive thing that came out of Troy recently is they say most of the dorm rooms are rented.
I know who told us that yesterday at
most of they said that most of the dorm rooms, which is a positive thing, you know.
But Mike, let me say another thing about that. That's what. But so, are they guaranteed every kid that takes a dorm room is going to be tested, so they know what do they do about the student body in a classroom on campus, in the dorm, in the cafeterias, in the dorms? How and the football players have to intermingle with that because they got to go to class.
Yeah, exactly.
So now they've confined the testing to the athletic department, and they know what those guys have got. But every day they got to get up and go to class and come back. Did they mix with somebody that's been exposed? Because those kids have been home every weekend.
I'll tell you one thing. Y'all know I've done a lot of research, and one thing I am certain of is this virus is extremely contagious. So if one person gets it in the family, everybody's pretty much going to get it in the family. So
and there's another step to that, Bill. The other step to that is everybody reacts differently to it. Some people can go ahead and they may have a cough or runny nose, or one day they may have a little temperature and it goes away. Some people have to go straight to the emergency room because their immune system is not good. So see, everybody's different. The body handles it differently.
I think that another conclusion I've made is that a big number are asymptomatic. So that's pros. That's good and bad. The good is they're not getting sick. The bad is they don't know they have it, so they're transmitting it.
They're carriers. They're carriers.
Yeah. They're transmitting it to other people without knowing they are transmitting it to other people.
Well, to mention that our hotline is on the air.
50 million tests in the United States. 50 million tests, and they think that there's probably been at least 40 million people that have the virus. A lot of people didn't even know they had the virus. So, I mean, when it's all said and done, there'll probably be 100 million people that had the virus.
Oh, you know what I think, Michael? People are going to fall over and call me a loony bin and wearing tinfoil hats, but I think it's a lot more than 40 million people. I mean, the population of America is 331. I think that it's very possible that 60% of the population has already had it. So that would put you at 180 million, you know.
Want to mention our good friends at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram Trucks, looking for a great deal. Nobody anywhere beats the Premier deal, and they're located on the bypass right here in Troy. And Jason, good morning to you and your staff. Good luck to you on your big sale you got going on.
Going back to the numbers, it's all conjecture and speculation, but 40 million, that sounds plausible to me, but I've read stories that say that in a given flu year, you're going to have 25 to 45 million people that have the flu.
You know, the only sad thing about all this,
but I think more. This is more contagious than the flu, so you would certainly have more people that would have this than get the flu.
I'm being facetious here, but you know the rough thing about this, we're having a hard time distinguish from the good guys to the bad guys. I walked in the bank yesterday and everybody had their hands up.
Because you had your mask on.
Hey, heads up, yeah. Which one of y'all robbing the bank? Which one of y'all are protecting yourself from the COVID-19?
Really, if you go back 6 months, if somebody walks into a convenience store, a grocery store, or a bank with the mask that everybody's wearing now, they are going to be pressing buttons and alerting the police.
I want to ask Max a personal question. Max, do you wear a face mask?
I do. I have it on the front seat of my car.
I can't visualize. You know how I'm trying to visualize people with masks on. I can't visualize you with a mask on, Max.
Well, I do. And here's what's happened in Tupelo. Remember this thing about masks is not a law, so different municipalities handle it differently. Yeah. But in Tupelo, the mayor and the city council went to the individual businesses, and here's what they told them. He said, you'll either have a security guy there or an employee or a sign saying no mask, no service, or we're going to revoke your tax exemption.
Oh, boy.
So they got the same effect they wanted without...
That's the way they handle it. That's the way they handle it here. Consequently, every business in town basically got a sign that says no mask, no service. So it has not been a big problem up here. Most people in Mississippi, though they're a little slow, they don't jump on the bandwagon on every item that comes down the road. But they've really taken to this because the majority of the deaths in this state has been, 60 plus years old. A lot of the guys in my market up this way in this county has got friends and family that's come down with it, or some people lost their life, and they've spoken it in their family lifestyle.
I'll tell you one difference between this and the Spanish flu in 1918-19. I've read that 43 or 45% of the deaths have been nursing home residents.
Right, that is true.
The Spanish flu estimates of the total deaths worldwide are 50 million or more, 700,000 in America. But they said the age group that got it the worst and died the most was 20 to 40. So completely different than this.
No question about it. And a lot going on, ladies and gentlemen, and we appreciate you watching our show. And of course, we're as excited about some of this information this morning that has crossed our board. Again, Ralph Black's funeral today is at 10 o'clock from the Green Hills Memorial Park.
And Ralph had four children that we're thinking about them.
I've heard, and I'm not going to mention the name, a pretty well-known figure in Troy and Pike County has the virus. And, I'm finding out more and more people that have had it that just really didn't go to the doctor. 4
people on my street had it, and they one of them had symptoms and minor symptoms, but was sick, and 3 of them were what I've been described asymptomatic. They really didn't know they had it.
Now, Max, we know you're not an ordinary 80-year-old. I shouldn't say that because you are a very young man, but because you work out and everything, your lungs are in pretty good shape, aren't they?
Pretty good, yeah, Mike. I've been very full, but I'm careful. I'm extremely careful where I go. And who I hang with, I'll be honest with you. This thing it's basically changed my lifestyle as well.
I bet it has.
I hadn't picked up my workout. I watched my diet, but I'm more concerned about who I associate with. than anything else.
Well, I've heard it's been hard for you to get a date because everywhere you go, you walk up to the door with a mask on. She don't know whether or not she's your lover or you're her robber.
Mike, I have my preference list. I don't have to go very far.
The mask might help some of you get dates because they don't get a good look at you.
Well, I tell you what.
The best thing about mask is people with bad breath. You don't smell it as much.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm wearing the mask today just to alarm you to the fact that you must be wearing this face mask when you go out in public. And hey, don't worry about looking silly. Everybody looks silly with these masks on. And I was asking a girl yesterday, I said, it's going to be hard for you to find a boyfriend wearing that mask. And she says, well, as long as everybody's wearing a mask, at least makes me have a chance. I thought that was a pretty good answer. Of course, we'll be finding out. I think this week's a big one because, this month, Max, of July has just flown by. I mean, it has flown by. And you're right. Next week it's time for football normally, and
it is.
I wonder, and every school district and every state has a different rule, and it's going to be interesting to see what some people do and what some people don't do.
I'll mention one more thing that people need to be looking at is the economic impact. The Congress is in session right now, and they're talking about whether to extend more stimulus. That would be stimulus direct payments to some people under a certain income. They're talking about whether in continuing these unemployment benefits where people are getting $600 more premium on unemployment than they used to in the past. And all those decisions are supposed to be made by the end of this month, too. Also, whether to continue this payroll protection plan that lets businesses keep paying their employees. So big decision. Another $1 trillion plus package is being debated in Congress right now.
Again,
guys, I'm going to tell you, in Mississippi, I just read an article this morning in our local papers. The unemployment is still up around 10% in this state, which they had gotten it down to 4 at the time. But in this state, for example, because of minimum wage is about most of the jobs in this state, is the unemployment and the supplement from the government is people are making way more money than they did when they worked.
That's right.
That's got to change because there's no incentive for them to go back to work.
They say, why go back to
and
work
also,
when I can sleep late and be paid more?
Those unemployment numbers, I wouldn't, a lot of people think that the real unemployment numbers are much higher than what we're hearing.
Of course, the messenger today, ladies and gentlemen, Wednesday, July the 22nd, is a great lot of information. In fact, Pike County Board of Education approves hires and resignations. That's a lot of people right there. And I hope everybody, ladies and gentlemen, is being smart. Please be smart. Stay in. Hey, don't take this thing for granted. Stay in and with your family and be very cautious when you go out amongst other people.
You meant I want to tell you one story, though, Mike, that is on the Drudge Report. So I did a study in Korea, and you know where you're 10 times more likely to get the virus? At your house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or 5 times more likely to get it from someone in your house than just randomly passing someone in your day.
Max, I know you're on a lot of sports shows across the country, and this is probably as laid back as any of them that you're on. But again, your lifestyle has been changed. What has been your favorite food during all this crisis, Max? A good steak on the grill, or?
Well, yeah, I'll do my own. I've got an inside and an outside grill, Mike.
I got you.
I'm going to tell you though, right now the weather's so hot. It's so it's so uncomfortable to be outside.
Yeah.
We aren't doing much. There's not many people outside doing Mississippi. Right. I mean, it's as bad as we've ever seen. We're hoping that the trend is going to start. I know there's some turbulence going on in the Gulf right now. It looks like it's headed to Louisiana. We're hoping that thing will bend around and if we get some rain up. We had any rain up here in 3 weeks.
Oh, that's just the opposite of us. We get a rain almost every day, and it's.
Well, you're close to the Gulf, though. See, I'm 20 miles from the Tennessee state line.
Yeah, you are, no question. Max, again, thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate you so much. And hey, if something comes up at any time, please call us anytime.
I will do it
on our show if you got information out there. And we do appreciate you, my friend, and appreciate your friendship with the people of Pike and surrounding counties and Troy people everywhere. Max is one of us.
No doubt about it. Thank you, guys. We'll talk soon.
Mike Amos from Grayton Beach. I hope you have a great day. Is it pretty down there?
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Do you recommend people to come down there and enjoy?
The water is crystal clear right now. It's beautiful.
You know, Mike told me the other day we went to his beach house that it was fine except that the elevator wasn't working. And
no, it's been working though ever since. So they fixed it. They had to get that.
Oh, but think about that how much we just take the elevator for granted.
Right. That's right. For a brief time. Hope you enjoyed our show. Watch us again today at 1:30 on Today in LA. Thank you, sponsors everywhere.